All right. Dude, we're live.
It's game on.
It is game on.
Big
Guys,
weekend.
sorry for the confusion. If we had a scheduled post and another one, I was trying to get all fancy and get our, cool thing all scheduled ahead of time, but then we needed to go quick and dirty here on the old phone. So, number one, making sure that you guys can hear us all good. Got my buddy Michael Zinski here.
What's up? Thank
And-
you, sir. Kindly.
And today, long time no see, Joshua, that's right. And today we are talking about Eliud Kipchoge in the sub 2 hour marathon. So we're really stoked.
The attempt. Yep.
The attempt. Good. Glad to hear sound is all good. Mike, what are you excited about this?
I'm
Except about
beyond
this as I
excited.
am? Yeah?
I'm beyond excited. I mean, I was thrilled for the last one, and just every race that he's been in for the last 8 years is
Yeah.
just it has a bit of a tone to it. So
Yeah.
this is just epic, and I think Ineos has done a tremendous job with setting this thing up and getting a team around it.
It's funny, like, I didn't know. I remember we were in London and we got to see the London Marathon, and a reporter was asking him after the race, or maybe he was asking him right before the race, like, was he going to try to go to Berlin again, because he's raced Berlin a bunch of times, and, potentially try to run even faster than he has before, or what he was going to do. And he gave like some African proverb, and he's like, when you're out hunting in the bush, never try to chase two rabbits, only chase one.
He
But I
speaks
thought
in
was-
proverbs. He speaks in fortune cookies.
Oh my God.
And like proverbs.
I
So
thought
that's
I thought it
amazing.
was such a great thing, but he was focused on London right
Yeah.
right before, and then I actually didn't know that this was a thing that was happening until probably like the last month.
Yeah.
But clearly he has been training for a super long time to get it done. So like it's going tomorrow. Like, what are some of the other details that you've learned about the course and everything?
There's one element I think that is the most important, and with everyone that I've been talking to. So it's out in Vienna, in Austria. They have a guy who's been analyzing the weather,
Yeah.
and like checking to make sure all the conditions are right. And tomorrow's the go time. I think they had like a 48-hour window.
Yeah.
Where he came from, basically from Kenya, had about 3 days until the race, and he had
Yeah.
48 hours. That was just like, this needs to be the magic
Yep.
time. So it's all lined up for tomorrow, and they haven't said the exact start time yet. That should come in a few hours today.
Yeah.
But I mean, so anyways, my first comment was, there's one thing that's different that everyone is really excited about, and I find it fascinating. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The thing that was lacking in the Nike attempt,
I think I know what
you
you're
probably
gonna
would
say.
have heard this. You've heard this. I know you have. Was a crowd
Yes.
and people and like cheering. And in Vienna, this is out around a big park outside. They're inviting the entire town. They're inviting
Yeah.
the world to come watch and cheer it on. And I think that is the final straw on the whatever straws break.
Yeah, the course is a little bit different from those of you guys who know the Breaking2 Project. What are we seeing here? It is at 8:15
Oh, they put it
EST
out.
or
Okay.
2:15 EST.
Got it. I did not see that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be coming out. I thought I saw somewhere where like I could start watching it at like 11 p.m. tonight or 11:30 p.m. tonight or something.
That could be like the setup and everything.
No,
I-
yeah, and
I
just when
believe
they
it.
start going in the
Uh-huh.
morning, all depending.
Yeah, the
That
website
doesn't
is really
seem right
good.
because Austria isn't that far ahead. They got to be. You got help us out, guys. We got to figure out the time for this thing.
My math is not.
But
that great.
I was just poking around a little bit, and a shout out to Total Running Productions. They put together some really great videos and edits just about the training and the preparation. But there are 41 pacers,
Yeah.
so way more pacers
It's
than they've had
unreal.
before.
That's
and they're going to
another
be
thing.
rotating every 5K. It sounds like the just the accolades of the pacers is absurd. Like, it's totally absurd. The pacers that are working with Eliud have a total of 5 Olympic medals, 10 World Championship medals, and 20 national championship medals.
Yeah.
So just like the pedigree there.
It's stupid.
Cool.
It's stupid.
really, really
I was
cool.
scanning the list.
I saw Bernard Lagat in there,
Yep.
Matthew Centrowitz in there. So really, really cool. And just for all those runners,
Yeah.
how fun to be part of such a bigger thing.
Insane. It's the who's who of running.
Yeah.
On the men's side, at least, it's the who's who of men's running.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just coming fresh off of Doha,
Totally.
where they're all running. I mean, there were just some very, very great fast runs.
Yeah.
I know Bekele's in there, and the guy that I think was either first or second for the 10K. I'd have to look at the list to remember his name. Lopez Lamong.
Yeah.
Who's probably one of the strongest American runners we have right now. It's hard to think anyone's better than
Yeah.
him.
So what a neat thing that they've brought
it's-
all those people there, and then they have the crowds, which is
crowd.
going to be so exciting. And then it's going to be the course. You know, it kind of reminded me of like the final laps of the Tour de France.
Uh-huh.
You know, where they just
Yeah.
have this long stretch with, I guess, turns on either side,
Mm-hmm.
and each lap is. Do you remember?
I don't have the stats for that one.
Okay, I think it
missed
was
that.
around 3 miles.
Okay.
3 or 4 miles, something like that.
Got it. So they're going basically around 7-8 laps.
Yep.
Okay.
And you know, crowd lined the whole way, and just so cool all the way through. Yeah. So, and he just, man, that guy is just so mentally focused and calm.
He's dialed.
Yeah.
He is dialed.
You know, it's interesting because like, is the sound a little staticky, Liz? Are you guys? Is anyone else getting that? Let us know, and we can make sure that the sound is picked up a little bit. It should be good, and if we're having some issues, we can always correct and make sure that's good. Sound is still good? Okay, perfect. Perfect. So one of the things that I saw in there was just to, well, actually what I wanted to do first was just to break down the speed, just to have people have like a really
Yeah.
good idea of this.
Uh-huh.
So a 2-hour marathon, they need to average 13.1 miles per hour, or 21 kilometers an hour, right? So you just knock out your half marathon in that hour, no big deal. It boils down to a 67 or 68 second 400 meters. It's a 4:37 mile, and then it's a 14:13 5K split. What's your fastest 5K? Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, my mile PR is 4:36, which is 1 second faster. 1 second faster. That was, and I wanted to die.
When did you run that?
Last year. Last
you?
year in the San Francisco State meet.
Oh yeah,
But
on the track.
On the track. That was on the track with
Super
with good-
warmed up.
Super warmed
all
up.
out
Great pacing.
for just
like
400. You're fit.
1
dude.
second.
Yeah.
You know, and then he's doing that 26 times with no breaks, no
Yeah.
rest. I mean, and the 5K is just insane. I run 15:45, and I went chasing our buddy Mario, and that's just absurdly sickening.
Yeah, it is. It is really, really insane. So absolutely so fast, and they're just clockwork.
Yeah.
Incredible all the way through. So it'll be really interesting to see. I think that, you know, how the weather plays into factor, if like there's any issues in execution with all the pacers coming in and out. Do they like trip each other, trip them up? I don't think he'll be sucked out too fast.
Right,
I don't
right.
really think that's an issue with him. But you know, we shall see.
You're exactly right.
But what do you think this means for like everyone else? You know, because like so much of this is like, well, okay, we have this incredible runner who's going to do this, but he kind of has the world, even non-runners are captivated. And so for the elite runners, it means something to them, because we already saw in the Berlin Marathon this year, Bekele run 2 seconds slower than what Kipchoge did in Berlin. Imagine if those guys were shoulder to shoulder in the same race.
Exactly. Like it's when he's been setting these records and winning marathons, it's been a lot of it has been
Yeah.
solo.
Totally.
For the last 2 miles or 1 mile or even more than that, whatever it is. So like to have the group, to have the pacing, the surrounding athletes there. I mean, that's everyone that's ever run with another person realizes the benefit of that. You know, just having someone on your shoulder or right in front of you or behind you.
Having that competition.
Yeah, and then like for the world and for elite runners and non-elite runners, I mean, I think this is an event that is just great for the sport of running.
Yeah.
I think it is a wonderful event. I mean, it's taken a man who, not arguably, I don't know who would argue me or argue you or argue anyone that he's the greatest runner to ever live on the men's side. I mean, I don't know who would argue it. He's 2-mile world champion indoors. He's 5K world champion. His stat sheet, his track record is
He's only
impeccable.
become second in one marathon.
Yeah.
Every other one he's won in
I
pretty
mean,
dominating fashion.
If someone's looking at stats and analyzing stats and going back all the way to his track running, it's hard to say anyone's ever been better than him.
That's incredible because
in running.
marathons, like, everyone has a bad day. Like, it's so long. It's like, how can you not have a bad day?
Yeah.
What did we get? We got a little correction here. It's actually a 4:34 mile from Jordan 10, not 4:37.
Oh, okay, got it. So I actually haven't run the mile pace yet. That's great.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Thanks for making me feel better.
I know, right? Someone's asking, when is the race? It looks like the race is going down tomorrow in Austria, in Vienna. And they are running on this incredibly flat stretch of road. It looks like through this like park. Very, very low wind. They were looking for a blend of low wind, the right temperatures, low humidity. And, you know, they arrived, I think, on Tuesday. And they were just determining, they wanted to give themselves a window to start based on how they could establish the best weather patterns. Do you feel like there's as much controversy about this as there is with Breaking2? Because like when people did the Breaking2, that was the first time they said, look, we're not trying to set an official world record that has to happen on a race. Like, we just want to, you know, be out there and do it.
That's why I think it's great for the sport. Running is a sport, and we got to acknowledge that entirely. And it's an exhibition, right? It's an exhibition match. It's not like they've done this in sports throughout history. It's like draw some interest, set up something cool. It doesn't all have to be for a gold medal. It doesn't all have to be a world championship race. This is a cool event, and it clearly has the support of the entire elite running community, which I think is great. And I think Breaking2 has kind of got a little bit weird because they're like, oh, well, what's Nike doing? They got these special projects. It's all secret. It's new shoes, this and that. And it had never been done.
Shoes,
Yeah, it had never really been done before. So I think that what was great about that is it kind of broke the mold. And I said, hey, this is fun. This is what it's all about. It's about doing something that the public is interested in.
Yeah.
And amazing athletic feats. So it did pave the way for it, I think. And
I wonder if we're going to see more of these things. We have seen Hoka do something with the launch of their new shoe, and they did a 50K. They said a new 50K. Didn't they say a 50K?
Yep. Walmsley, 50K.
Yeah, not a new 100K.
I believe.
Yeah.
You could fact check me, but.
So for you guys who are curious about the time, what the hell is CET? That is Central European time. That's funny, right? Oh, hey, thanks, Read Up Caveman for $2. Appreciate that. We'll, get a cup of coffee after this.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys. So cool, right? Just so cool. And they will be running in the shoes.
Yeah.
The new Nike
The
Vaporfly.
next percent.
So here's what's interesting about the shoes, and I've just read a few articles on this, like just over the summer. They used to think that what made the shoes work and be powerful was that that little lever bar or kind of metal like spring rod that was in the shoe. But now they're saying, like other scientists are trying to confirm this, and they're basically saying, it might have to do with just the cushioning and the less fatigue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know the entire science behind it. You'd be the expert on that one. I don't know too much. And I know it does. It also does put you in a good kind of dorsiflexed foot strike, which plantar flex. Sorry, plantar flex. Like where your foot is down a little bit, heels a little high. So it kind of triggers a lot of momentum and gets the spring. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, they're certainly doing shoes. Let us know, guys, if you have run in the the next percent or 4% or whatever they're calling them these days.
Yeah. Have you run?
We see them more and more.
Have you run?
I haven't. Have you?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
I have not.
I know Mario has.
Mario's got them. I have the precursor, like the Zoom Fly. I think that was kind of the.
Yep.
They had a plastic loaded plate in it.
Yep.
And not as expensive. That's why I got them.
Oh, there you go.
I do like those. I have run in them a lot. I've run in them well. I like them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So Edward, you were asking what shoes Kipchoge will be running in. They will be running in the Nike whatever next percent they're doing. They've just released the latest and greatest version of what they're doing. So it's cool. And I heard another quote this morning. 5 of the fastest marathons have all now been running these shoes.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's look, like, we don't run on cinder tracks anymore. I think that sometimes there's this level of, well, when is technology too much? Running is supposed to be this pure sport. But when we moved from like old school cinder tracks that like Jesse Owens ran on, to like the newer rubber tracks, like those are faster. So it to me, it's always this interesting blend of how we do it. And then both of us have some time in history in the triathlon world, where there is an adoption of technology.
Oh man,
about going faster. That's just totally different.
Yep. Yeah. Bikes, chain rings, all this stuff. It's, technology does something for us.
Yeah.
And we're not getting slower. That's for sure.
We are not getting slower at all. Well, guys, post your questions down below. Let us know if you think he can make it or not. I actually put out, if you go to the community tab on our channel, we put out a little poll. About 1,000 of you have answered. I said, will Kipchoge break the 2-hour marathon barrier during tomorrow's challenge? Vote down below and see what happens. 78% of you think it's going to happen.
And so, can we ask Nate's opinion? Are we going to save that, or are we going to?
Let's get both our opinions here. Yeah, sure. But 14% says I wrote the question. I said, hey, not throwing shade on Kipchoge. He's amazing, but I don't know if he's going to make it.
It's just science.
And then another 8% I want to throw out. I was like, who is Kipchoge and what is the 59 challenge?
There we go.
Which I think is really important because with running, there's just so many pockets. Like you might, in certain worlds, like you might throw the name Walmsley out or Courtney Dauwalter, and everyone's like, oh my God, I know who they are.
Sure.
And then a lot of runners are like, who are these people from this ultra scene? And I think the same thing with Kipchoge. And clearly he's doing something to bring more and more people in.
Yeah. I acknowledge that, we do, and this is our job and our profession, but not everyone finds a lot of excitement in turning on a marathon and watching it for 2 hours on TV. I acknowledge that. You do see a lot of in Tour de France, same thing. Like it's not, I don't like throw shade at anyone who doesn't like to sit around and watch people run at a smooth pace for 2 hours.
Very, very long time.
I get it. I get watching 100 meters, watching a 400 meters is great.
Yeah. Guys, if you're hearing this happy squeaks in the background,
my squeaky toy got
This is Nora who has found a squeaky toy and is squeaking away. So, you guys can all hear. You can all hear the squeak toy in the background. We took one squeak toy away.
Yeah.
We took this one away.
She's got a stash.
And she was very happy with it.
She comes.
Nora, come here. Up here. Go up here.
Oh.
She knows she can't get up. Come here. Come here.
She's got a hidden stash of them all over the house.
Here's Nora. We don't know what her opinion is on the...
She could break. She could clearly break 2, I think.
She ran pretty fast this morning. She had a good little run.
My goal for Nora is the doggy sub 4 minute mile.
Yeah.
I think Nora's got the sub 4 in her. I really do. We need someone to pace her.
I'm not fast enough for her, man. Damn.
We could bike it, right?
She's getting too fit.
She is very fast.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's getting too fit. She can just knock out these 6-7 mile runs, no problem.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Although it's getting cooler this time of year, so we're totally.
If we tie a rope to her on the bike, she could totally run sub 4.
Yeah, Alexi says Nora can run sub 1. I definitely ran a 19-minute 5K with her a couple years ago on a park run, and this included like stopping and taking her on and off leash, and she definitely chased geese, a few times.
Oh, her like she is not running the designated course distance. She's adding at least half a mile in zigzags.
Yeah. We got another good question. Hey, any comments on the diverse backgrounds of the pacers?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we got people from a lot of marathoners in there, but also a lot of 5K and middle distance specialists.
Yep.
Like 1,500 meter specialists and 5K specialists. Paul Chalimo is in there, who just ran the 5K in the World Championship. And like you said, they're trading blows, like, and they're going for 5K at a time. About some of them will probably stay a little bit longer. Yeah. Like some of the more marathoners and his training team, who will be there, they'll probably stay a little bit longer. But I think the goal is,
and it's not just East Africans; it's Americans. It's I think some Kiwis or Australians in there.
Big Australian team, like 6 or 7. And they're some of the best marathoners in the world right now too, that group. And I think it really is about the professionalism of the runners. Yeah. And when you're a pro runner, you can go and run 13 minutes for 5K like a lot of these guys just did, but you can also have this range of gears where you can go run 14, you can run 14:30, which will be the pace. And then just like the smoothness, keeping things rhythmic, giving him little motivations, giving him little lines to hit from time to time. And not to mention, they understand what he's going through. Totally. Like, they understand the fueling concepts. They understand all this stuff. So I just think it's so rad. You know, a lot of these guys have never run a marathon. Yeah. That's right. What's really neat.
Participate in this. I think what's interesting to me, like when I saw the 41 Pacers, I was really curious. I was like, is this overkill? Like, do they actually need that many guys to do it? Because what did the Breaking2 have? I mean, they had 20?
Yeah, they had on and off about 20 people, I think.
Yeah, and they just, they took turns and took laps. And I'm just thinking, did they, which is cool, I was like, did they do this for the purposes of, like, bringing more runners in and making them feel included, like they're part? Hey, if we get this diverse group of runners of different distances, they bring their fan bases in, their countries in, I think just make this more of a collective thing, which, I think is great. I don't know if, they're like, oh man, 30's not enough, let's get an extra 11. It just, that to me seems crazy, because there's not that many 5Ks in the marathon, and so all those guys are all just going to run one.
I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. I'm genuinely excited and curious to watch how this unfolds. I'm sure they got crazy strategies. Yeah. But I also think of the power of energy, right? The how contagious good vibes and good energy is. And at some point, someone in that group is always going to be really positive and feeling great, running well, running quickly. And that's just contagious. Yeah. I think that if you got 4 or 5 guys who are fresh and coming in and they look great, that spreads to the group, that spreads to Kipchoge. Yeah. The hormones and the release of endorphin when you're seeing these people going well, you're hearing the crowd. That is an intangible. It's not something you can really put a number to.
Handle his bottles and his food, so he doesn't have to exert any additional energy. Apparently, they've even improved the car they were using for this. There's
Are they going Tesla?
They've tweaked.
Is it Tesla?
I don't know actually.
Time at 1:59:59.
Oh
Tesla,
my God.
go!
I know, right? That's so funny. So man, it's just gonna be so cool. Are you gonna watch?
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow's a very busy day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a very busy day.
We have a busy day, guys.
And also we have the Ironman World Championship is on tomorrow too.
And Chicago Marathon is on Sunday. There's just a lot all the way around.
Endurance heaven. It's endurance athlete heaven this weekend. It really is.
So many things to watch. So there are ways to watch the live stream for the Ineos. Did you look into that yet?
I did. I mean, the website is really good. It's really clear. Just type in Ineos challenge.
Yep, and you'll be able to watch it there.
It'll be live on YouTube.
Yep. Hey,
plug.
There we go. Exactly.
It will be very nice, and I'm sure they're going to have some really high quality coverage of it.
Yeah, which will be super fun to see.
Yep.
And and then tomorrow is the Kona Ironman World Championship, which was fun. We also want to give a shout out to Coach Morgan, who is going to be in Chicago. So for those of you guys who are racing the Chicago Marathon, let us know down below. Or if you even just ran a marathon, recently, we'd love to give you a little shout out. She's going to be leading a warm up down in kind of the main waterfront area tomorrow at 10 a.m. in Chicago, and then we'll be doing a live stream of the race on Sunday. So. A bunch of us. Man, I'm excited. I think Morgan's gonna do great. Like, she's never done the live stream before. And I'm like, get ready. It's a lot of work.
She's got enough energy.
Oh,
she's full of bubbles, and she's fresh off of the Golden Ultra, I believe.
Yep, she has the vim and vigor for sure.
Don't mess it up, Morgan.
Don't mess it up.
Pressure's on heavily.
Oh my god. So I wanted to pull off a few things in here. Edward said, I love how there's a lot of geeking out about the course, which is some undulation in traffic circles, and how much time he's going to lose because he's not running a flat course.
That's a great one.
It's pretty flat. I mean, it is interesting to see like the turns, like how sharp those turns are on the end, if those start to slow down. Imagine they'd practice some things.
You know what? In my opinion, undulating courses are faster. I actually think that's a good thing. I think the pan flat course is not ideal for this kind of speed.
Yeah.
Because
you just get a little mix up, a little change up.
I think the monotony is really great. I think if they're not hills, but like a little kick over a roller for these guys. I mean, they don't feel it. It's just it almost opens up their stride a bit. Totally. It might feel good for them.
Yeah.
And then they get that little acceleration on the other side. I mean, I think keeping the little variation in terrain is really good for them.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. I don't know how tight the turns are, but I mean, I still think a track is a pretty tight turn.
Yeah.
And that's where all the fastest times are run. So like if you're using momentum and centripetal force around these turns, I think it's good for them. I really do. So I love this course selection.
Yeah.
And it just
they really could have gone anywhere in the world, right?
You wouldn't want to do 26 miles in Australia on that crazy highway that's just pancake flat and dead straight. You just lose focus, right?
Yeah.
I think the turns and the
variation, the mental laps, you can like break the course down to all these different segments and just kind of work your way through.
Yeah. And they'll have the splits and they're going through each lap. Like I think I'm excited for that.
I love that. Yeah, I love that too. I think it's. I mean, they obviously chose a course for its speed. I don't think the hills are probably too much or concerning.
Right.
So what do we think? He's run 2 hours and 25 seconds in the past when he did the Breaking2, and that was 2 years ago, pretty much.
Yeah.
Last year in Berlin, he ran a dominating 2:01:39, which took world record in Berlin. Open race. He basically ran alone. Like they're allowed to have pacers early on, but they basically fell off. And I think like the last half of the race, there's no one near him. And he took. It was like because the previous one was 2:03, a low 2:03.
Yep.
And so he took like a minute and 20 seconds off. It's insane. So clearly everyone's like it's there. He says he's ready.
And I remember when he finished
Berlin. And can he
Berlin,
take 25 seconds off the marathon time? He's got to. That's 1 second a mile.
Yeah, right. And he finished Berlin, and he was. I mean, that's something to acknowledge too. Like when he did Breaking2, and ran 2 hours plus, his next race was Berlin.
Yep.
And that was the world record. That was his fastest marathon. So you can clearly tell he benefited from that program.
Yep.
He got faster.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Again, you do it again, and you need just 25 seconds from him.
The thing that, and I want to talk about a little bit too, is I think what has a lot of people's attention is Eliud's mindset, the way that he seems to approach his training and his sport. And for running, like in a lot of the, like basically where he comes from, like that is becoming the NFL quarterback, right? And getting the big contract. And these guys, when they go out and run, like this is, they do this not just for the love of running, but early on, a lot of them do it because this is like an economic way to get out. And to support their family and their village back home. And I think what happens is that when you have a lot of money and influence coming in, you have a lot of people in your circle that don't necessarily have your interest at heart. And so how do you manage a long career, not let that go to your head, not just say, hey, like, why is this guy motivated? Like, if he's won so many things, like, what else is he? I mean, clearly he's got this that he's figured out as a way to keep himself excited and motivated to train. But, like, you can just see in so many other situations where runners burn out, young, talented athletes hang out in the wrong circles. Things just go awry. Right? But this guy seems to be so humble, and I just love that he trains a lot in areas where he's free from distractions. He is very almost democratic with his team, where he does all the work as everyone else. He lives in the same rooms as everyone else. Eats the same food as everyone else.
Oh, man. And then let's not forget, he's had the same coach, Patrick Sang, his entire career. And I would love to know how long they've been together. I think it's somewhere like 15 plus years.
Yep.
Do you know? 15, maybe.
They've been around together for a long time.
He has had the same coach his entire
It's like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right?
Oh, let's not go there. Let's not. I mean, we don't have to.
You had a rough game.
I didn't see the game last night.
There are a few times, a little NFL caveat, the Giants lost.
Oh, dear.
But they were looking good for moments. They had some good defensive takeaways.
Anyway. That plays a big factor. Like, I think the consistency element, the familiarity. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of amateurs struggle with. Yeah. That he is the opposite. A lot of amateurs and a lot of people who are newer are looking this way, they're looking that way, they're looking up, looking down, trying to find the perfect program and trying to find new exercises, new workouts, new ways to do a marathon. This guy has done the same thing, and he's committed to it. Yeah. Whether it's been perfect or not, like he's believed in it. His coaches believed in it.
His consistency.
You know, and I think that he is the epitome of consistency.
You know, something I see with athletes who get into at least the local run scene around here, and for some who get a little bit more serious and they get good, and everyone's following each other on Strava and social media, and they're having a bad race. A thought that sometimes goes through their head is they're like, what will everyone think that I ran so slow?
I gotta tell this to one of my athletes today.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's true.
It's real, right? And it's like, and I don't want to knock down on it. Like, I cannot lie, I've felt that pressure. There are times where I've like, oh man, what are people gonna think? I'm not this way. And it is.
Should I post this run? Should I tell people I'm doing this race? Like,
should I say I did it, but I was really tired and did something, like just add all these different things. And it's just like, I don't think Kipchoge does that.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he doesn't have to.
I don't think so.
You know.
I mean, even if he did, he could do it to perfection anyways. But you know, I don't think he gets those thoughts. I think he just is. This is a run that's been built up, and it's part of his progression, and he's just ready for it.
Yeah,
I think. And he doesn't seem to get concerned with failure or not showing up exactly how he wants to. I don't know. It's a pretty brilliant mindset.
Yeah, it really is. He's just so calm and relaxed. And I think one of the things I picked up just surfing around and checking things out was, you know, Kipchoge is most proud of his mindset, where he's happy, he's calm, he's focused. You know, there is this thing where like they say he's 34, but like a lot of like I don't know if he actually has. I know with some of these runners, I remember talking to our friend Mario about this. Like a lot of them like all their birth dates are January 1st of some year. And it's like, they actually don't, like, they have birth certificates, but it's like, wait, how is every runner like January 1st? Like, it doesn't make sense. They've kind of just chosen a year. So some people speculate that he might be older than 34. But I wonder, like, what he's going to do if he breaks it. Is he on a tear and he just keeps running marathons? Does he retire? Is he happy when he retires? Like, what is it about the chase and the marathon that keeps him happy and focused? And you see that with a lot of great athletes, right? Like, this is an issue with the astronauts who landed on the moon.
Right.
They're like, we landed on the moon. We've achieved this incredible peak level of performance. Like, now what?
Right.
You know, for the rest of our lives.
You know, I think he is, what you said before, such a humble guy that just has a family, has a life, and just this is his profession. And it's hard for me to think that he wouldn't just continue and keep racing. He's just, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And he loves it. And he does have a great balance around it too, even though he trains in these blocks and very hard. Like, he's living a good life. He's living the life that he wants to. It's simple.
Yeah.
And he's there with his family.
Yeah.
Like,
he's just figured out
he's
what
got
makes him happy.
I don't see him ever at risk of a burnout or ever at risk of, like, doing too much or not loving it. You can tell. You can look at his face when he's finishing these races, and when he's doing it, he is just in love.
He really is
with what he's doing.
Yeah, and as Liz just says, sometimes the pressures of success are harder than that of failures. And I think what's amazing with certain athletes is, like, they continue to be kids and they just have some level of enjoyment, and it's like they just shrug off that pressure.
Yeah.
Because think about how much pressure this dude is under in right now. Like, it's absurd. Like, it just, like, on one level, right? Everyone is expecting, everyone is watching. I don't know if anyone would be disappointed if he goes off, but if he, like, slowed down and ran a 2:05, I think people would be disappointed, right? Like, that would be a failure. And yet, I don't know if that is. I don't think he's a failure, but, like, I feel like that could be, you know, in there. And I just think that's incredible that he can balance that.
He might even like it. If he ran like a 2:06, he'd be like, oh, cool. Now I've ran 2 hours, 2:01, 2:02, 2:03, 2:04, 2:05, and I've run 2:06.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think he would, like, put some kind of funny spin
He's
on
like meant to be
Yeah.
something.
There was a good comment here. This is a good one. Jeffrey Carmoir, who just broke the half marathon world record in Copenhagen.
What was
his
the
training
time?
buddy?
58 change?
Yeah, it was.
It was under 59,
It was
right?
under 59. I think.
Incredible.
I can't remember exactly what it was. Could Jeffrey Carmoir, if Kipchoge didn't do it, I think he's gonna race in New York.
Well, here's another interesting thing, because when they did the Breaking2, they had 2 other runners, Lila DeCisa and I can't remember the third. Was it Kimura?
No, it was DeCisa and
but they basically
Amatrea.
They had 3 runners simultaneously attempt, and then they had pacers around them. And I think for this, it's just Kipchoge. There's no other runner that's really trying the attempt.
Absolutely, and for that reason, I think that Carmoir is one of the best runners in the world. But he's a shorter course dude. He's a cross country. He's a half marathoner. He is a tremendous marathoner, but I don't think he's quite at that level of experience yet. He's 26, like he says, and I think that's
a little young pup on the
marathon
marathon
stage. He's a little
stage.
young pup, and I think it's going from 2:03 to 2:01 is like
that's a big deal.
At that tip of the needle. I think it takes that kind of Kipchogean mindset and commitment and length and consistency, and I think Carmoir could definitely be there over time.
Yeah.
I don't think he could quite be there yet.
You know,
That's a good
I
point.
wanted to address this question from David Vitale, and I thought this was interesting. He says, do you think that not competing in the World Cup or the Olympics could relate with doping control? It is strange how the Olympic marathon record is only 2:06. They are superhuman, but it's strange. And I wanted to talk about maybe why the Olympic marathon speed is not as fast as some of these other races. Like, what do you think?
Oh, it's the course.
Yeah,
it's the course. It's the timing. They don't have this condition around it.
Yeah, there's
not this planning.
Like, if you're running in China, like in 2008, London, these are in the heat of the summer. Like, it is just
Rio. Forget it.
Gnarly
It was
conditions.
I think people DNF'd in Rio because it was so hot.
And then sometimes with Olympic races, a lot of times finals of even shorter events can be slower because they're more tactical.
Oh, for sure.
They're trying to see who people are, and then they get that surge at the end. Whereas this is just all distractions aside, best time of year, most ideal flat course, pure speed.
For sure.
So sometimes with the Olympics, you're not going to see the fastest times with running.
And in the sprints is where you'd see it, but mostly in the anything over 800 is like Centrowitz, who's pacing in this race. He won the gold medal in Rio at 1500, and it was pedestrian time to what they're capable of running. Pedestrian time. 3 laps were just like a warm up, and then it's a sprint to the gold medal, and he won it. On paper, he was far from the leader in that race, but he won because of the tactical.
Now, it was Sammy Wanjiru who won the 2008 gold.
You got me.
I want to say that. But what was interesting about this guy, and he actually, I think he died prematurely, which is a very sad story, but incredibly talented runner, won Olympic gold in Beijing in 2008. And he did it on a ridiculously, anyone please correct me if I'm wrong, but he did it on a ridiculously hot day in Beijing. Everyone thought it was going to be this like very slow tactical race. This guy went out at mile 1 and just led from the front and just like took off and just shattered everyone. And he started to change the tactics of these marathons, because originally the idea was like, oh, it's got to be slow and tactical, then we surge. And he is one of the early people to just like go.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And he totally made it. So it's just so totally crazy. Will there be any benefit from running behind the car? If so, why not run closer if allowed or further away? Well, they are kind of making their own rules. I'd say that they're at that speed, you definitely will get a draft benefit.
Sure. And he's going to run it. It's not even going to be the car. It's going to be the draft pack.
It's going to be the people. I don't know if they're actually. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys do. Let us know. But there is. I don't know if they're trying to use the car. I think they're trying to use the drafting of the other runners.
Yeah, without
the
doubt.
car is just enough to help with pacing. They're going to use those like little weird laser show lines.
For sure. It's just like you saw in Breaking2, he's going to run in the middle. It's going to be like the Mighty Ducks. Like the flying V. It's going to be flying V full on. I guarantee it. And it's because you got a bunch of 13-minute 5K runners that are going to go and run the pace. Like, if the draft effect off the humans is going to be better than it would be off a car.
Yeah.
And he can kind of tuck in and just get as effortless as he can for those splits, for sure.
Best shoe, man. I wonder if he's like, man, I hope my shoelace doesn't come in time.
Does he got the lock laces? Oh my god,
lock laces, like the Nike thing. Like
who ties Kipchoge's shoe? Does he have someone tie his shoe? Does he do it? I don't know.
What was the Nike shoe? It was a basketball player. It was during the
Duke.
It was during Duke. It was the NCAA when he like cut and like basically like the sole of the shoe like fell off.
Yep.
And it's just like don't want that to happen.
Let's make sure he's got some good shoes. I hope so. Well, luckily this guy was like 6'9" and 270.
Yeah.
I think what's Kipchoge? He might
the opposite.
He's the opposite. What's the guy's name that played for Duke?
I think Kipchoge, if he turned sideways, he probably disappears.
He might be like his quad.
Yeah, it's just,
he might be like
he's
his leg
all
or
leg.
something.
Oh my god. I thought that's funny. Interesting. Marlon Weekly says too close to car cause turbulence that can inhibit runners.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Right. If you're like skidding the swirl around.
You want the same height. It's like on the bike. You don't want to be too much higher, too much lower.
Yeah.
It's good.
Totally right. But yeah, hopefully he's got his shoes and gear and clothing. What does he use for nutrition? I know he uses what's it called?
The Martin.
Yeah, it's like MAURTIN.
Martin.
Yeah, Martin.
Martin is the gel. I think they made it for Breaking2. They started the science behind it. I think Martin makes some great products too.
And shout out to Coach Elizabeth. I know that this is I believe an isotonic gel.
Ooh.
I know, fancy word, right? Which means that you don't need to take water with it, because a lot of gels, if you just throw them in your stomach, they can just sit like a brick and cause more problems than they help. But with the Martin gel, you can take it, and there's enough fluid in there that it just absorbs all the way through.
Yeah.
Minimal impact. So
they're pretty great. I've used them. I like them.
Do you like them? I've never tried them.
They're good. They're good.
They're tasty.
Tasty,
Did it taste like it works, or is it like tasty? Because there's like the
question.
thing that tastes good when you just like try it in a store, but then there's a thing that tastes good when you've had 4 of them and you're like 2 hours into something, right? Because that's like
Yeah.
another type of flavor. Sometimes you want like less flavor.
You're right. I found no issue with the flavor.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do a marathon with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Edward said there's a caffeinated version now.
Oh.
I know he enjoys a nice cup of tea. For you,
Some nice black
Mr.
tea.
Kipchoge, with a little bit of sugar.
Oh yes.
Enjoy all the things. Although, you know what? Fun fact.
What?
Guys, I've been trying to cut down coffee over the last couple of years. I know. Wednesdays and Fridays is just tea. I just drink 8 cups of tea. And no, I'm kidding. I don't do It's like way more coffee.
You can add 4 scoops of sugar. There's no regulation on how much sugar.
I know, right? Totally.
You can always find the caffeine somewhere.
So we got to answer the question, do we think he is going to make it?
Who's first? Me?
Give a guess.
Me first? I think it is this my opinion is that it's more unlikely that he doesn't. I'm all in. He's going to do it for sure. Absolutely. I think the crowd.
Do you think he's going to go high or low 159?
I think
or
it'll
sub
actually
159.
I think it'll be middle. I'm going to say 159.32.
Ooh, okay.
159.32.
Specific times. 159.32 for
That's
Mr.
it.
Mike. Okay. I'm going to say 159.45.
Okay. So you're on board.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was so close last time, and he only slowed down like that last, 400-800 meters. I mean, the hard part, though, is like when the bottom drops out, right? Like he could be on pace through mile 23 and a half.
Yeah.
Right? And
He was.
And I think they want to be wary of going too far under halfway, right? Because it's like they don't want to do that because that's bad. But then you have less and less margin for error. Any slowdown, it means like, well, now I need to go have a mile where I can go faster.
Right.
Like, that's insane.
that is certainly a worry. The energy and maybe it's almost like the New York Marathon. Could it be too much energy?
Yep.
Like, could they be just
Right.
too hot?
Everyone is too amped up where all of a sudden, like, he is just like, he goes out and runs like a 59 half or a 58 or something.
Sure.
Fast.
But I'm pretty confident he's good. He's dialed.
Yeah.
And I'm all in.
One of the things I heard is that he also added in some strength training this year. Or some different type of stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm not sure if he's throwing a barbell around or not. I saw them maybe doing like a step-up class with like very, very light dumbbells. Basically like holding 2 tea mugs in their hands and just...
I mean, for him to even take on.
Do you think he can pick this up with one hand, or does he need 2?
I mean, if he used his legs. If he drove through his legs. Even just for someone at his level to integrate in something slightly newer, great. He doing some core work, like, good for him. I think that's
totally.
He could easily just have done the same thing over and over and over again, and been just fine. But it's courageous. It's a little brave of him to just add in a little something.
Yeah, I think it's great. Dibu saying Nitsala says he's going to do it. Even if he doesn't, he's already a winner in my eyes. If Kanisa can run the second fastest time, surely Eliud can do this. No shade. I'm thinking 1:58.59 or 1:59.22.
Okay, so we got a sub 159er.
I love it.
All right.
I totally love
that. Cool. I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be like 1:59.58. I think it's going to be with authority.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be times
stamp it.
Yeah, I think he's going to stamp it. That's a good point.
Who does he hear? Michael says he's always done the gym. That's cool. If he's always been in the gym for strength training for a while. I think that's changing more and more. I think more runners, if you follow, you can follow Gwen Jorgensen, you can follow Alexi Pappas, you can follow a bunch of different people online on YouTube, and they share a lot of their training, just different American runners. Like, you're starting to see more strength training in there. But it's still like everyone has a different flavor of training. And the interesting thing to me is that a lot of these runners, I haven't seen any of Eliud's strength training. And it's hard for me to say this because it sounds very judgy, but it's like when I see these guys as a strength coach, my first thing is like, I want these guys moving better in the gym.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, you can say, well, wait, what does that matter? And it's like, they still are so fast. But it's like, well, a lot of elite runners still deal with injuries. And maybe Eliud's on the spectrum where he hasn't or doesn't much, right? He's got some degree of natural efficiency, but you know, for everyone else, you know, there's something that can be found, some
It's
kernel
true.
that can keep us out there a little
Yeah,
longer.
without a doubt. I mean, it is movement, and
Craig's asking, when will we know the start time? I think we can check out the Ineos website and see when they put it out there. It looks like 8:15 Central European time is the thing. Thanks, Juana, from putting that out there. A bunch of people are doing that there. Do you know how long Kipchoge typically sleeps before a race? I don't necessarily know how long he does, but again, watching some other videos, shout out to Total Running Productions again for putting a good one together. He said on average he sleeps 10 hours a day, but 8 hours is like sleep, and then 2 hours is like a nap.
got it.
Yeah,
That makes
pretty
sense.
good.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, if I did a 2-hour nap every day,
Yeah.
that would be
I
rocking.
remember Dina Castor too.
Craig,
Dina
could I
Castor-
take a 2-hour nap in the middle of our workday? Would that be possible? I think I'd be, you know.
That 2 hours is valuable bar time. You know, that's valuable time at the mountain bike bar.
Craig says we should start 2-hour naps. I would love that. You got a nice
Required
cap.
company 2-hour naps.
Yeah.
I know Dina Castor was the first one I read about who was like an avid napper.
Yep.
And I was like, if Dina Castor's napping, I think I'm gonna start napping.
You know, I remember listening to or reading this quote or interview with Frank Shorter, one of our great American distance runners of yore. He's one of the last American men to win an Olympic gold medal. Fun fact.
Interesting.
1972.
Wow.
But he
Well done.
went through a place where he was going through a long period of, or he was going through a season where he was just plateauing. And he said, we tried everything. We tried different speed and tempo, different courses, different types of long runs, all the different variables I could play with, and I just wasn't really seeing much of anything. And then he said he went from sleeping 8 hours a day to 10 hours a day, and all of a sudden he just started to go up again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the takeaway was like, man, if we could all sleep 10 hours a day, maybe we'd be superhero. One, these guys are training at such a level, they need that extra sleep. But it's all the thing, like for us, like, man, what if we were to just give ourselves 30 minutes of extra sleep on average?
Do you have your Whoop on?
My what?
Your Whoop band?
My Whoop band? I do not. I'm taking a break.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm taking a break on them.
Was-
Or a ring. But they were helpful.
I had two athletes that I was just working with
Oh, are
down
they
in
using
Ecuador,
them?
and they had the Whoop band, and they
Okay.
were really excited about it. And I thought it was cool. Like I've never used one, but you've used one.
Yeah.
Did it impact the way you looked at your recovery or your sleep at all?
I think it showed more like early on, and Craig and I both used them. It showed early on if I was in the red. It kind of confirmed what I potentially already knew, but it just it kind of gamified it a little bit. You're like,
Right.
okay, I need to like actually get to sleep.
Yeah. Like,
Or
I want
like-
to see my
yeah, like,
readiness.
or if I sleep a little bit more, or I could tell that if I had alcohol one night, that would affect my heart rate variability and my recovery the next day. So I could start to see those things.
Got it.
So it's definitely cool. I wasn't using it to the nerdiest level, but I remember talking to a very like a good ultra runner in Marin County. She runs professionally, and she wears the Aura ring and the Whoop band because they have slightly different numbers, and she doesn't trust both. Or doesn't trust either. So it's like we can go a little too far, you know, on the tech side. But I do think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did your athletes are liking them?
They liked them, and I think it's good because someone that's a coach and someone
Yeah.
that really understands the sport and like how important it is.
I think as a coach, if you can get access to the information, because there's always that level of like, athletes are sometimes bad at telling their coaches what they're really feeling.
Yeah,
Right. Because
right.
they don't want to be like punished with less work.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the deeper
So if you
punishment.
can
isn't
actually
it?
see, oh man, they're not recovering,
Uh-huh.
I can start to come back a little bit, which I think is really cool.
It was kind of cool. I liked how they worked because it did in a training camp. It influenced them to be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to bed a little earlier tonight.
I know,
And
right?
I was like, okay, score for the Whoop.
Ibrahim, what's your question? I don't know if I'll see it. I'll see if I can scroll up the feed and see if I can find your question in there. Can you please reply to my message? Is there a record set for the longest endurance run without drinking water?
Boy, I don't know.
That's interesting.
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I don't know if that would be a record. I don't think that should be something we try to do.
I know. You know, I think we're like a little bit more robust. Like, I think, not to go totally into the hydration debate, but it's like, you know, in the past, we have functioned and gone on long periods of time. There's always the survival story. The guy hikes through the desert, the mountains, or whatever without drinking anything versus like, oh, if I don't have a gel every 20 minutes and a perfect amount of water, I'm going to fall apart. It's like, no, like we can go longer. But I have no clue.
I'm sure something crazy has happened in like the Badwater Ultra or something like that, you know, and they're running through Death Valley basically.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone really does that by choice.
I don't think so.
Yeah, totally right. Yeah, I think people are a lot tougher than they think. I agree with that. Here's a question: Is a 2-hour marathon healthy?
Wow, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is a good one.
Let's go there.
You know,
let's end it on that. Is Eliud Kipchoge like the pinnacle of health? Or is it performance? And like, where do health and performance like intersect?
I think Kipchoge has crossed the barrier where it is healthy for him. For him, because of the length of time that he has been training for this and the health that he uses around his, like, there's all the elements. There's the sleep, there's the recovery, the movement, the strength, the training.
He is someone who seems pretty balanced.
I think so. I mean, and he's got a healthy mindset. He's not a stressful person. So for him, I think it is healthy. Yes, it's the elite of human performance, but I think it is a amazing feat because he's been working towards it for 15 plus years. You know, it's not like he dropped everything and changed everything and went deep into it. It's just been the natural progression of one of the most talented and like just, you know, gifted athletes we've ever seen. Yeah. So I don't think it's a question. I don't think he's unhealthy. I don't think I think if the wrong person takes that training program and takes his messages.
What about like Tour de France cyclists? Are they healthy? What do you think? And the reason why I bring this up is because sometimes we equate performance and health as the same thing.
Right, sure.
And I don't know if some of you guys have like seen this like graph, the idea of like I'm very unhealthy, very unfit. The more fit I become, my general health levels all around increase. Lower resting heart rate, better blood panel, better balance of muscle, fat mass, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Longevity, capability. But like there is a point when I start running 100+ mile weeks, I'm definitely trading some physical capacity for just the specifics of this one thing.
Right,
sure. You know, it's like you're just on a razor's edge. Like he has to get like like an hour massage every day just to keep himself on. He has to sleep 10 hours a day. Just to keep himself healthy. And to me, that's a sign where it's like we're watching something that is incredibly cool, but like he has made a lot of trades and sacrifices for this level of performance.
Sure.
And I think he's doing it incredibly with a degree, a level of health. But it's like he's not on a sustainable level of training for the rest of his life. Right?
Sure,
he's going to dial that back.
You have to, absolutely. And that's why that's one of the reasons I think he is. You make a good point there too, because it's all the things he has to do to stay healthy would probably not work for the normal human being. But it's cool because look how many times he's raced.
Yeah.
He's not out doing 6-7 races a year.
Yeah.
He's doing 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And so he has a lot of downtime, I think, in his cycles, in his programs.
He seems to keep himself balanced and focused and everything. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. If you liked our little talk, make sure you hit that like button. That helps other runners find this video and our channel. We put out new videos each and every week, sometimes featuring Coach Mike over here. We'll get him in there more. And on videos on how you can do it better. We're going to be doing a live stream of the Chicago Marathon on Sunday, so come back and check that out as well. Let us know in the comments below too, like what you think Mr. Kipchoge is going to run.
What an exciting weekend it's going to be.
Exciting weekend of sports.
I'm stoked.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, total pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for the invite.
Drinking
Thanks for the
some tea.
invitation. Thanks for listening to us for a little while.
I know.
Cheers.
Really, really exciting to see. And guys, like hopefully, you just absorb what's going on this weekend and you just take that little extra bounce in your step.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people going for a run on Sunday.
Totally. I think so, right? I think there's going to be a lot of people
I
out
think the
there,
motivation for running will be very high.
Yeah. Y'all are awesome. All right. See you guys.